Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started a Sunday gym because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. And afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and share their knowledge and experience with you. I hope you enjoy it. Right on, Eva. Thank you for joining. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much. I am very well. I am happy that it's Friday and we have a quote in Cargill saying Happy Friday. So happy Friday to you as well.
And happy Friday to you as well. I mean, in all fairness, we've been looking for Friday since Monday, so I'm happy to see him here. The program's going to be absolutely. The program going to be focused on three main questions. What do you do for a living? How did you get there? And how did you knew that this was the way to go? So tell us what you do for a living, please.
Yeah, quite an interesting question. Let's start with what I'm doing right now. So yeah, I can share. I have around 25 years of experience, mainly in the finance domain. Right now, I am group controller for EMEA and APAC in Cargill. This is an agriculture and food company. Yeah, having multiple experience during these 25 years, starting from scratch immediately after graduating and doing my master degree. How I landed there, I believe by luck and a bit of guidance from my parents in that moment. And if you ask me, how do I know that this is for me?
Well,
I didn't know.
one step at a time, because you know, just to make it a little broad. First of all, it's pretty good that you've started immediately after you graduate. You didn't have this period of time when you had to look for this and look for that. Like you just went to college or university, you graduated, and then you just started. That's pretty good, because truth be told, you're right to say about the luck. Because I know people that definitely were not in that position, and they've been looking for stuff here and there. And the whole point is that it's good that you haven't lost any time, because we've all lost money, we've all lost friends and stuff like that. But time's something we can't get back to, so that's pretty good. So yeah, the second one was how did you get there?
So, as I mentioned, I believe by luck, and I a bit based on the guidance from my parents. But on the other side, I believe in that fresh age, you don't know really what you would like to do and what is your way. And I learned it through my son. He is right now 21 years old, and he is just in the first year of university. And if I look back 1 year ago, he was not knowing what he wanted to do. He just told me, Mom, I will not go to any university because I don't know what I would like to study. And even more, I have colleagues who started they started university, again, not knowing or not being sure what they would like to do, but due to the parents' guidance, they pick up some university. And now after 1 year, they are giving up and they are changing. And then I told to him, it's fine. And it's a fair approach. Time to think, because we would like to avoid to do things which you don't know, or you will realize in time that you don't like. And I'm not saying that it's bad or wrong. It's more to take the opportunity or to try something new. So if you are realizing that this is not for you, just change, just be brave and just take the courage and just change. And yeah, I cannot say that 25 years ago, I was knowing that finance is my passion, and leading people will be something which I will really enjoy and create my career and my future. But I tried during my career different things, and I looked on different role models. I was inspired by different leaders in front of myself, and having those type of examples and trying different things, I realized and I find my way. But it's not that this was something which I was knowing from my first day after graduating, not at all. And even more, perhaps what I would advise or suggest, try different things. So yeah, could be that you believe that this is your passion, but in between you just realized, being in a project or being in a different involved in different topic, you will just realize this is something which is close to my heart, or it's bringing me satisfaction. And then be brave and change if this is completely different than you studied or what you started. So I believe once you find that part which is really giving your passion, never stop to change or to try or to learn, because wherever you are doing something with passion, nothing is too difficult, and you will find a way to be successful only because you like it and you are passionate by it.
I love interviewing people with a lot of experience because they often tend to get to the same conclusion. There was this gentleman, the name escaped me right now. I interviewed him here last year or something. And I asked him the same question, and he was like, well, he figured it out by graduating the LDB University. And I like, are you advertising something on my channel? What are you doing, man? He's like, learn by doing. And that sure came out of nowhere, and I absolutely agree with you. You said something very interesting, something that really hits hard. You know, when you start something, you know, the most difficult thing is to start. But once you start something, even if you see that this college degree or this course or whatever, if you see that this isn't for you, just, you know, move. Just find something you're into. Now, I have noticed, and not only have noticed in other people, I've noticed that in myself as well. When you have that ego problem, and I was very prideful when I was young, it's difficult for you to acknowledge that this isn't for you and that you cannot do it simply because my personal case was that the ego was basically pushing me like, yeah, no, you can do it. Well, you clearly can't. But it's incredibly important to highlight that. And another thing you mentioned that really does the snowball effects. This is what, of course, how I view it. You did hit your parents behind your back. It's very important for a child to have the parents behind the back, because that solid foundation is incredibly important. Those are my personal observations, of course.
And definitely, and I believe the parents have a role to play in this decision, but not imposing. And perhaps this is what I learned with my own son. Okay, if you don't know and you cannot find your passion, or you cannot find the field which is attracting you, let's wait a bit and let's find. Give us time. Give for yourself time just to find it. And I can even remember it was almost less than 2 months before the universities are closing the doors, because everything was already done. And he just told me, Mom, I believe I would like to try this. And I encouraged him. Even that my first reaction was, oh, this is not what I would like for him. But once I stepped back, I thought on it, and I let him to decide that this is what he wants to do. Then I was just in his back, and I encouraged him, okay, let's go in this direction. And I can tell you now, after one year of university, I am extremely proud about himself. He's overachieving. And this is only due to the fact that he likes and he's in love with what he is doing, and with what he discovers each and day in the university. And I believe this is amazing. And if you can have this, let's say, opportunity from the beginning, is very well and very good. But if not, it's never too late. And changing jobs during the time, or changing the role during the time, is also another opportunity where you can find your way. And don't remain stuck in one single place, because this diversity and diversity in trying and finding your way will help you to go there where your passion is.
I absolutely agree. And the best thing about it, you just said it right in the beginning, like you kind of like went against the instinct. I'm very happy for your son that he's doing what he loves. But even if that didn't work out, it's a win, and it's entirely his win, because he went in there.
Exactly.
But even if he didn't, it would have been, I guess the correct term is lost, but it's not a loss because now he knows, right? And in all fairness, the university, and this is what I love about it, because people always think I'm bashing the universities and the colleges. I'm not. I'm just highlighting the fact that it's not always a good idea to jump in there without knowing. The best thing about it is that even if he didn't he didn't go through the correct channel, he didn't took what he wanted, he would have known. And university is basically a pretty good controlled environment. It's like a real life simulator. Definitely isn't, because I can assure you from the many friendships I had over the years in universities and colleges and people who I talked twice a day, honestly, if like the huge majority, if we just pass one another on the street, I probably won't even recognize those people anymore. I haven't heard from them in 15 years. So definitely a very good simulator to the real world. That's one thing I really adore about universities. And about the third question, it's a little bit tricky. I guess this is why people think I don't like universities and colleges. The third question is, how did you knew that this was the way to go? The reason I'm asking is the following one. And we kind of covered it, some of it, but not entirely. People exactly tend to go to colleges and universities. They go there because that stigma to have a diploma, you fix your life, which is not true, like not at all. And it's a plus, nobody's arguing. I'm just highlighting that. And here in Europe, the education is quite cheap. I'm talking to folks from the United States. I'm talking to folks from India. Education over there isn't really that cheap. You can find it, but not all the time, and it's tricky. But here it's a different matter. It's affordable. Like, I graduated a private college from my bachelor studies. I was working as a bartender during that time, and I paid for the whole thing with my bartender salary. So it was pretty affordable. The problem was that people were going over there purely because of that stigma that you gotta have the diploma, and often, and I'm sure you probably noticed that as well, often they're graduating things that aren't for them at all. Afterwards, they're starting jobs that aren't for them at all. And from my observations, those are personal observations, you cannot be a happy person if you're miserable 10 hours a day. It doesn't work like that. And once you're miserable, once you get home, even if you live with your parents, even if you have family, if you're miserable, those around you are also miserable. If you have a plan, the plan gonna be miserable too. So you happen to have any observations about it, and especially your good example, because your example is pretty good. How did you knew that this was the way to go? And in all fairness, it's good to say luck, but truth be told, luck had nothing to do with it. It's been 25 years. Nobody's lucky 25 years in a row.
Yeah, at the beginning, I didn't know that this is my way, but I find it on the way. So year after year, and I have a very favorite quote, and my quote is passion. With passion, you win everything. You can win everything. And this was the quote which drives me to find my way. So yes, I started, I was young, I was interested, I was curious, and on the way, I learned that this is what I want to do. And I believe it's extremely important, like you mentioned, to be surrounded by people with whom you can build something, to trust your capabilities, to never give up. I would even use your example to invest in your learning, because it's extremely important to have a solid base. And I'm really encouraging all this young generation, never stop. That is the age when you are creating this solid base. So those learnings and those periods in the university, in different certification, in different courses, or even self-learning, that need to be created at the beginning. And if you have a solid theoretical base, in practice, you can put this in practice with the working environment. But never stop investing. And I'm not saying that after 30 you don't need to invest in yourself. No, you need to invest in yourself each and every year, because you need to grow, you need to develop, you need to keep the pace with the changes and with the transformations which are around ourselves, and we don't need to stop learning. And this is something which I also learned it from my kids, who all the time encourage me, okay, don't give up, even if, I don't know, the technology is something which is not your passion anymore. Don't give up, because this is evolution, and you need to go with the evolution. And yes, I believe if you are passionate, if you are curious, if you are challenging yourself and just not stay in the comfort zone, even that sometimes is also good to stay in the comfort zone.
I can't agree. It's always wrong to stay in the comfort zone unless you're not 70. If you hit 70, it's fine to stay in the comfort zone. And that term was correct 7 years ago, because, and normally I don't talk about politics, I'm just giving it as an example. I've always been taught that stay in the comfort zone after you're 70. And then Donald Trump ran for president, and now Joe Biden is. But those people are old people. I don't have ill intentions against them, of course, but they're old. At 70 something, your place is not in a stressful environment. You should lay down on a beach. So even although I always said it's good to stay in the comfort zone after 70, obviously those two guys know how to beat me.
Yeah, true. So yeah, I believe having all this in mind, I am just encouraging each and every young person who is at the beginning of the road, just to be passionate, to stay curious, and to never give up. So,
and in all fairness, if you know yourself, and I understand, especially in today's world, it's difficult for somebody, a teenager or even young adult, to know themselves pretty good. If you know yourself, and if you have this intuition in you, this sensibility for around surrounding environment, if you start what you're doing, you can't stop. I've seen people that once you start what you're meant to be doing, it's a snowball effect. You can never stop, because there's always something more and more. I guess this is just like how we're designed to be as humans. Like once you have that, and that's your own thing, and you know it's your, you can't ever stop.
Completely agree.
There is a fourth question. It's a bonus question. Sometimes I'm asking it, and I'm certain that you've noticed that too here and there, especially in today's age, even especially before COVID. After COVID, kind of as well, but especially that was before COVID. That was a pretty solid case. How do you balance work and family environment? You've mentioned you have, with the children and everything. I can personally testify what a hard worker and an awesome manager Eva is, because for the audience, we actually work together. We're in the same company, and that's how I met her. So there's a testifying from me about that. And since you've been doing so well in both departments, could you please share some wisdom? Because, that can be tricky sometimes.
Thank you very much for this question. And I will be very honest, and I will share the truth. It's not easy. It's really not easy. Being a person who is in love with the job, the career, to be a mom of 2 teenagers or 2 kids, to have a husband, to have a house, to manage everything, and to have also your own time, it's not easy. And you need really to find those boundaries and to find those limits. And I learned it during the years, that if you are not able to keep your limits, you will go in different direction, which could either go in this workaholic environment, and then just to not realizing anymore that you don't have life anymore, or you are just very passive and you don't care on what is happening around yourself. And I went through different moments like this during this entire period. But what I learned to stop when it's too much. And this was not from the beginning. And it was not, I don't know, I cannot say that I had work-life balance in my 20th or 30th, because that was the highest period or the highest focus of work. But it was my choice. And it was an alignment with my husband and with my family, because definitely in order to grow and to create your own career, you need to have the family support, and you need to have a strong and solid support from that side, you cannot succeed. And on one side, indeed, I received this support from my family. But on the other side, I was also learning where to put the limits and where to say stop. And one very concrete and short example, I imposed for myself, yes, I can be available 10, 12 hours per day, each and every working day, but weekend is dedicated for myself and for my family. And this was a statement and the action which I took, not opening my computer and not being active during the weekend, because this was the time which I dedicated to my family. So this is a very simple example. I have multiple of them. But what I wanted to say is that, yeah, you need to find those limits, because the line is very tiny. And if you cannot find those limits, then yes, you are going to the extremes, and the extremes are not helpful at all. And yeah, whoever is going through this type of questioning their work-life balance, my only advice is stop, think what are your limits, and put those barriers or those boundaries. Otherwise, it's tough to keep the work-life balance.
You know what I love about that advice you gave? The first word. It's that's why I love talking to people with so much experience, because every time the first word, it's like right on spot. It's perfect. Like stop. Notice how we weren't really able to stop. I mean, not all, but most weren't really able to stop before COVID. It was so dynamic. Like, honestly, I've been through a lot, but I don't really remember much of the period 2016, 2020. And it's not because I was drunk, right? Okay, partially not because that. But yeah, no, because the life was so dynamic. You just from 1 month to another, from one year to another, and it's you're here, you're there, you're everywhere. And this is why of course, COVID was tragedy. Nobody's denying that. But there was also something good about it, because it forced us to stop a little bit and just to reflect. So love it when you said about that advice. And last segment, do you have some general advice for the audience about career, about the choice of education in general?
Just be passionate, try whatever is coming on the table, be brave, and don't step back. Even if you don't know, or you have a lot of uncertainties and a lot of questions, take it like they are coming. Be brave, be courageous, and never stop to fight for what you would like to create in your life. And stay positive. Positive mind is helping always to take the right decision.
So perfect advice. And I love it how you said it, that take the challenges once they come, because if you really know, we shouldn't really be calling them challenges, because if you can see it as a challenge,
opportunities.
If you see it as a challenge, which that means you have the necessary skills to deal with it. If it's too easy, you wouldn't even consider it a challenge. If it's huge, exactly, you won't even see it, because you're not at that level. But if you see it, you're at a perfect level, you can totally bash it up.
Exactly. Completely agree.
With that said, Eva, huge thanks for being with me. It was amazing talking to you.
Thanks as well from my side, inviting me. Thank you very much.
Right on. Bye. Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Gap, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.